Thursday, December 12th. I'm Rim.
And I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight we talk a bit about the Virtual Console on the Nintendo Wii and, more importantly, ice hockey for the NES.
Let's do this.
Man, I gotta say, the fact that it's December 12th and I still don't need to wear a coat to work.
I wore a coat to work a couple weeks ago, but today I just carried it around with me.
It was 55 and sunny.
It wasn't sunny where I was. It was just gray all the time.
Really? It was actually sunny down in Yonkers all day.
Everywhere I go, it's gray, but it's not cold. Definitely not cold.
Well, the best thing is I looked at the forecast, and not only is it going to be sunny pretty much all week, but it's supposed to get sunnier and warmer this weekend.
They might be lying.
I don't know. I don't think any... As far as I'm concerned, winter doesn't exist anymore. It's not going to happen. It hasn't snowed here, and it's not gonna. It's gonna stay 55 and sunny right up until May, when it's suddenly gonna be 95 and humid again.
Yeah, and then we'll have snow in July instead.
No, it'll just never snow again.
I think it's gonna snow.
I'm absolutely certain it won't, and in fact, I'm willing to put up absolutely nothing to back that argument up.
What a great bet. That just shows how sure you are.
In fact, I'll bet a negative cent. No, I'll bet you 1,000 space dollars.
Oh, great. That's worth so much.
1,000 space dollars is worth like negative 100 real dollars.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
The economy's not too good in space. They got too much inflation. The expanding universe and all.
I'm not sure if that was funny or lame.
I don't know either.
But I laughed, so I guess you win.
Okay.
Right, so in the video gaming news, because there really isn't so much useful video gaming news lately. I mean, stuff we really want to talk about. We can
Except for my video game news.
And my video game news. But there's a bunch of little things that really aren't... Like, there's a story that the PS3 is not really selling for much on eBay anymore, and there's a lot of them out there, yet the Wii is selling out and going for just as much money.
Whatever.
Yeah, and there's all those stories. But no, the one I want to talk about is something that ticks me off on a number of levels, and is relevant compared to what we talked about yesterday. You see, Valve, in its infinite wisdom, according to numerous sources, has decided that they're going to put advertisements in Counterstrike 1.6, and then in the future, they're going to put these same advertisements in Counterstrike Source. They're going to have them on blank walls in the game, on the scoring screen, and in the letterboxed areas in spectator mode. They're going to be dynamic. They talk more in detail about how they're going to be dynamic and all that. And they didn't really answer a lot of the questions I have as to, how the ads are going to be served, a.k.a. can I block them with a host's file?
Yep.
Or, just exactly how they're going to do this. Are they going to let the ads be deformed in-game? Because then I would totally just spray paint pornography over any ads I saw. But if they don't let them be deformed, then that really kind of takes away from the game.
It does. It's really kind of weird because Counter-Strike has always been this free game.
That's
been
what
free. Made it a huge game in the first place. And is it still the #1 online game? I don't know.
I think it's fallen from #1 recently, but not that long ago.
There still had to be tens of thousands of people playing Counter-Strike. I can't believe that there aren't.
Oh, if you add up Counter-Strike and Counter-Strike Source together, it still has a lot of players. It has... I'd say in terms of numbers of people over time, Counter-Strike has been one of the greatest runs in the history of a popular online FPS.
Well, I think what it comes down to is that Counter-Strike has always been a free game, so no one's willing to pay money for Counter-Strike.
A lot of people did buy just Counter-Strike.
Because they were dumb.
Well, they didn't realize that you could go to the bargain bin.
Well, you buy Half-Life, which is worth money.
Well, you could buy Half-Life for like $5 right before they start, because Counter-Strike used to just be a mod for Half-Life. You had to buy Half-Life, and then Counter-Strike and all those other mods were free. Then Half-Life hadn't been sold for a long time. It came out in like these platinum collections and whatever, but it wasn't an expensive game anymore. They decided to sell for like $29, maybe it was less than that, Counter-Strike in a box. And
My brother bought that. It was the worst because they changed the weapon names.
Well, yeah, among other things.
Now the weapon names are still changed.
It was just Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
And people bought that because they didn't realize that you could buy Half-Life, which includes Counter-Strike and every other mod ever, for like $5. If that. You could find it for free, usually. Just go to someone's house and take it. They weren't playing it.
Yeah, and the worst thing was if you paid $30 for Counter-Strike, you didn't get Half-Life. You couldn't. It was like, oh, shit.
So I can pay $5 for Half-Life and Counter-Strike, or I can pay $30 for Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shittier Counter-Strike than the real one, too.
But it didn't really matter. I mean, Counter-Strike was rampantly popular for reasons we don't really need to get into until we eventually do a show on Counter-Strike.
Oh, we should do that.
Yeah, we should. I had a lot to say about that game. Both the good and the bad and the hilarious.
Mostly the hilarious.
But what bothers me, and here's the real issue, the fact that they're trying to put advertisements in this game, while it annoys me and bothers me, and it's a big reason that I might not ever bother playing Counterstrike again, even though it used to be one of my favorite games. I'm not going to deal with advertisements that I can't get rid of in a game that I paid for or got for free if I didn't pirate it. Now, if I'd pirated the game, I might feel bad about it, but no, they gave it away free, and now they're changing it on me. What bothers me is that it's the same thing that happened with Tribes 2. Valve owns the game. They give it away for free, they sell it, whatever. But in order to play the game online, they make you authenticate with these servers that they control that no one else can run. They effectively hold over me the power to just deny me access to this game at any time, or change it and not give me the option to unchange it, or just take it away forever. Tribes, the same thing happened. The game was taken away. You can't get CD keys anymore. Without a lot of hacking and various shenanigans, you cannot play Tribes 2 online, even if you bought it in many cases. And the fact that they can change the game and put these ads in, despite the fact that the servers they provide don't really do anything, and in fact the actual servers you play on, are provided by people like us running them in our houses.
Yeah, it's like, on the one hand, I can see the need for the ads in that, all right, Counter-Strike is a game that's always been free. They run a lot of expensive, powerful computers, and they have a lot of developers working on it over time, all the time to improve upon this free game just because it's so popular, and yet they make nothing off of it, basically.
Yeah, except that other mods that were just as good also made nothing or almost nothing and didn't have to resort to this.
Those mods were things developers made in order to get real jobs, and now Valve hired them all and is paying the money.
Yeah, except the thing is, Valve doesn't seem to remember or realize that Counter-Strike was pretty much the only reason people actually used Steam back in the day. When Steam was announced and came out, it was almost universally reviled as being stupid. And most people, myself included, only downloaded it in order to make our ability to play Counter-Strike easier and better.
Yeah.
And to me, the only reason Counter-Strike even exists for them from a business perspective is to trick people into getting Steam and then paying for other games. Of course, I guess it doesn't matter anymore. Counter-Strike's been on the decline for many years. A lot of people don't like Counter-Strike Source, hence they keep playing Counter-Strike 1.6.
Yep.
And to me, that was just the final nail in the coffin. If they actually put ads in Counter-Strike Source, I'll probably just never bother playing it again.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest.
I haven't played Counter-Strike in years. I don't really have a need to play it. I mean, if they didn't put ads in it, I might have pulled it out now and again. I'd probably never in my life, ads or not, become heavy into Counter-Strike again.
Well, no, because there are games like Natural Selection. But
yeah.
I every now and then have the urge to play Counter-Strike, and I had a lot of good memories playing Counter-Strike. But if I have to sit there dealing with Coke ads while I'm playing Counter-Strike, a game that I barely want to play to begin with, there's just no way.
No way. But yeah, you're right about the whole DRM thing. Is like, it's a video game that I bought. If this patches, I should be able to choose if I want those patches or not. You shouldn't be able to deny me. I mean, technically, they're giving you a license to play the game, and there's the license agreement, which means they can revoke it, whatever. But is it right? I mean, what if Nintendo gave everyone Super Mario Brothers back in '82, right? And then that Super Mario Brothers that we originally got for the NES depended on some servers at Nintendo in order to play. And in 1985, they changed level 2-1. They just changed the level, and now it was impossible for anyone, anywhere, to play level 2-1 in the old way ever again. And then, let's say a few years later, they just turn Mario 1 off. Now no one in the whole world can play Mario 1 ever again. That's the kind of control that Valve has over games like Counter-Strike via Steam. It's really the kind of control that people like Blizzard have over World of Warcraft.
It's really a loss because a lot of our listeners and us really want to play Tribes 2. We all own it or can get it for free because they actually gave it away for free. There's no reason, absolutely no technical reason in the world that we couldn't run a Tribes 2 server and play a game right now, except that they no longer give out CD keys and they're not maintaining anything. But even though they're not maintaining anything, the game requires their servers to function, even though those servers provide no gameplay mechanic whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there are hacks and wares and all sorts of things that we can do, but, technically illegal and annoying and difficult. And I don't really want to deal with it. I'd rather, I don't want to deal with ads. I'm definitely not going to deal with that hassle.
Yeah, especially not to mention dangerous, since most hacks these days include some sort of malware.
Yeah, we're talking about Windows here, too. These things don't run on Linux so well. I mean, the Tribes 2 and Counterstrike servers run on Linux, but the games, not so much. Anyway, so my news is, it's kind of weird, because every video game site had this news all over the place today, and I was like, what's the big deal? Who cares? And then I was like, oh, once I finally, sort of consciously understood what they were saying. The news is pretty simple. Dragon Quest IX is going to be on the DS.
Whoop-de-doo.
Yep. If you don't know what Dragon Quest is, it's Dragon Warrior, which is, the game with the slimes and the drakeys and the big stone golems.
I believe the word is Drake.
Drakey.
You know how English works, right?
Yeah. But how is it spelled in the game?
D-R-A-K-E?
I'm pretty sure it had either 2 E's or a Y.
No.
Or possibly just D-R-A-K.
It was D-R-A-K-E.
Whatever. It's a Drakey. Anyway. If you don't know about Dragon Warrior, or maybe you've only experienced it in the U.S., it is stupid huge in Japan. We're talking stupid huge on a level you can't possibly comprehend. As big as Halo or freaking Grand Theft Auto is here. That's
bigger than Jesus.
Yeah. That's how big Dragon Quest is in Japan. There are laws that they made in Japan that you can't release this kind of game on certain days of the week because people won't go to work and they'll go wait in line to get the game and play it all day. This is the kind of shit that halts the Japanese economy when Dragon Quest comes out. Now, Dragon Quest has always been on the most popular system. It was on the NES/Famicom. Was there an SNES one? I don't remember. There was a PlayStation 1, and then it was on the PlayStation 2. The fact that it's moving to the DS is basically saying the DS is now the #1 system in Japan. PS2 is dead.
Which is pretty much true.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, though. It's like, imagine if Grand Theft Auto and everything started coming out for the Wii and wasn't on the PS3 or the Xbox 360. That's what this is like. That is how big this news is. Now, they didn't actually say it's not coming out for the PS2, but the fact that they just said, yeah, it's coming out for the DS, and they didn't say anything else, it's basically 90% sure that it's not coming out for anything else. The other thing that's interesting about this news is that traditionally, Dragon Quest sub-games have come out for the Game Boy, like Dragon Quest Monsters and Rocket Slime. Those are good games, but here is the sequel in the main series of games coming out for the DS. That would be like if Final Fantasy 13 came out for the DS and didn't come out for anything else. It's insane.
Well, it's like I've said many times. For me, until the Wii came out, the DS was my primary gaming console. As in, I played games on my DS in situations where I'd normally play whatever game I opened at the time or whatever console I owned.
Yeah. The other thing is this game is going to have some 4-player online co-op action. So
oh, really?
This might actually be a game that we're going to want to buy when they bring it over to this side of the ocean. If they do, which I'm sure they will.
They'd better.
Because the game is just so huge. And I love, the last thing I want to say is in this article, they have this little image, and it shows a bunch of slimes holding up a Japanese flag, and then one slime holding up an American flag to show the difference in popularity of the game in the two countries.
Now, does that represent any sort of number, or is it just a graphic someone made?
It's just a graphic. It's really cute with a bunch of slimes.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Things of the day.
Man.
I said it the way I used to say it.
Oh, God.
People seem to like that.
I guess that whatever. I don't really care. So, you want to go first, or should I?
You know what? I'll go first. Mine's real quick.
All right. Mine's also real quick. Oh, no.
So, USB has spawned a lot of very useful things, and it's also spawned a lot of very silly things.
Well, it's useful in that it's a plug that almost every device now has, and it provides power as well as data. So, if you want to plug something into USB, you can just get electricity out of it.
So there are even devices like flashlights that plug into USB.
Mm-hmm. There are USB cell phone chargers. That they just charge your cell phone by taking electricity from the computer into the cell phone there.
Well, it just so happens that someone has made perhaps the most perfect combination of stupid thing and useful thing ever in the face of the internet, mankind, and computing.
It can't be the best combination.
Well, you see, what they did is they took a USB memory stick, one that holds memory, and they took a humping dog.
Like a real dog?
Like a little plastic dog.
Okay.
Where his member would be is a USB port. A USB connector sticking out.
Yeah.
And if you plug it into a USB device, it will begin humping the data into the computer.
That's just hilarious.
I don't know what else I can say about that.
I think that might be the best USB stick ever. Definitely beats out the USB sushi sticks.
All I have to say is some of the things that showed up as related videos probably don't want to watch.
Oh, God.
Then they're not donkey shows, but God.
Yeah. Mine is a donkey show. Speaking of donkeys.
Oh.
My thing of the day is pretty simple. It's Mega Man versus Donkey Kong. Now, you might have seen that video, Halo versus Donkey Kong, where the Halo guys come in and they shoot, with their guns, and they take over Donkey Kong pretty easily. Well, this one has Mega Man fighting Donkey Kong, and if I compare this video with the Halo one, I think the Mega Man could kick the Halo guys' asses.
Easily.
Probably.
Think about how much damage Mega Man has taken in the course of his career.
Yeah, it's true, and he is a robot, so it doesn't actually do anything permanent. As long as he makes it out alive, Dr. Light fixes him up. So,
Plus,
yeah.
he's got all those powers. He can throw stuff like Gutsman, and he can throw stuff like Dustman. And
That's right. Depends how many guys he's already beaten.
well, canon-wise, he's beaten a whole bunch of guys. For some reason, he just loses the powers all the time.
I don't know what's up with that. By the time you're playing Mega Man 7, you think you should have, 6 times 8, 48 different weapons to choose from.
See, I think it's like Legend of Zelda, where the timeline keeps branching, and there are actually all those Mega Mans happen at the exact same time.
No, actually, they have this story that actually connects them all, and that's the canon. It's kind of scary.
So then why does he lose his cannons?
I have no idea.
This doesn't make sense.
I'm going to go read online, and I'm sure there's an explanation for it that someone came up with.
Yeah, you know what? Dr. Light, incompetent.
Could be. He is a crazy old man.
Now, the funny
you
thing
think
is
that if Dr. Light, knew so much, he wouldn't need to make Mega Man to solve the problem. He could just do it himself.
or here's what I don't get. Dr. Wily keeps breaking out of whatever hellhole they lock him in and making giant robot masters to come and destroy the world. Why don't they, the next time they catch Dr. Wily, just shoot him?
They did, but then it was really like a robot, or it was a clone, or it was a,
Well, then they didn't actually catch him.
That's because Dr. Wily's too smart. He's all wily. He gets away.
I'm pretty sure they caught him at least once.
Well, at least in this instance, Dr. Wily's pretty stupid. He chose Donkey Kong to be a robot master, considering Donkey Kong is neither a robot nor a master.
I think Donkey
that
Kong's
was a bad choice.
primary problem was that being not a robot, it took one Mega Man pellet to take him out.
Yeah, pretty much.
Thing is, I predicted accurately the end of this video, and if you don't also predict accurately the ending of this video before it comes up, I think you might have some mental difficulties there.
If that is the case, I sentence you to play Mega Man 2 until you beat it 2 times.
You know, I never beat Mega Man 2.
You suck.
Or 4, or 5, or 6, or 7, or any of the X's or 1.
You should be 5. 5 is the Proto Man one.
See, the other thing is I never even tried. I never liked Mega Man games.
You suck.
I own I got Mega Man 3 because I traded some kid Hydlide for it.
Mega Man 3 is the second best one.
Yeah, and I usually just cheated and ran around exploring glitches. I never actually tried to beat the game.
Yeah, that game was glitchy as all hell, that's for sure.
Yeah, the glitches were great. I had more fun with the glitches than I ever did. I never even got to Dr. Wily, I don't think.
One time I was playing Mega Man 2 and I was fighting Bubble Man, and the gate opened up, and I actually went backwards into the waiting room again. Then I went back into the Bubble Man room, and it was all fucked up, and I had to reset my NES.
Man, when I was a kid, I loved it when that happened. Now, I hate it when that happens.
Yeah.
Times have changed.
Changing. Yep.
The winds of change are changing.
So we doing the show on?
I think we're going to do the show on the Virtual Console.
Alrighty.
See, more specifically, probably the greatest sports game ever to be made for any video game system ever, worth about $1 million space dollars, is ice hockey.
Yep. The game is called Ice Hockey. It's like in television. What's the name of the football game on television? It's not called Madden something something. It's not called 10-yard fight. It's not called Tecmo Super Bowl, even though Tecmo Super Bowl is the best football game
It's
ever.
called football!
It's called football. And what's the ice hockey game on the NES called, besides Blades of Steel?
Which is almost as good.
Which is almost as good. It's called ice hockey.
Now, you see, the reason we want to talk about ice hockey is partly because we want to talk about the Virtual Console, which is both one of the best things and the worst things of the Nintendo Wii. You see, the concept is great. Nintendo has a very large library of old intellectual property that is not making them very much money at all, if any.
Yeah, I used to complain, it's not right for them to make ROMs illegal. These things are no longer available. No one is making money off of this intellectual property. Therefore, it is not morally wrong to just take it and copy it and keep it alive in the world. But now, that argument doesn't work anymore, which is good and bad.
Nintendo is very smart, and they realized from years of outcry that their fans really like their old games. And as they learn from releasing compilations of old, Super Nintendo and such games for the GameCube, people will buy Zelda 1 and Zelda 2 and Ice Climbers again and again and again because they love these games. People want to play old Nintendo games a lot.
They sure do.
So, in the Wii, in addition to having, all the games you can buy for it and the games you can buy for the GameCube that work just fine on it, you can also buy Virtual Console games, which range from NES to SNES to TurboGrafx 16 to Sega Genesis. It's basically an emulator. You can just buy these games from Nintendo straight up, legitimately, 100% accurate, and play them in your Wii with absolutely zero effort, difficulty, or problem whatsoever.
That is what they do have one significant advantage over emulators, in that it always works easily. I mean, most people don't have any problem. If you know how to use an emulator, you don't have really a problem with NES and SNES emulation, because it's so well done that these days the NES and SNES emulators are so good that everything works great. But Genesis emulators, even today, they're a little bit flaky. You can't always get them to go full screen and work right. There's no way you're going to get Sega CD and 32X stuff to be right.
Yeah, TurboGrafx, I've never seen.
I'm pretty sure there are TurboGrafx emulators, but don't ask me to name one or how they work. It's, and I don't imagine that they work as well as ZSNES or SNES 9X.
Yeah, because watch, there's like a half of a person working on that project.
Yeah, and then you've got MAME, which works really well, but, do you have
to... No, MAME works really well when it works.
Well, the problem with MAME is that since every arcade game is different, that the controls are often confusing and need to reconfigure them for each game a little bit.
Also, many ROMs, for various reasons, are dumped incorrectly or formatted wrong and just don't work.
Well, you have to go to the right places to download, the big ROM packs that have every MAME ROM ever, and yeah. There's just too many MAME games, and most of the games are not worth playing.
And also, total speculation, probably not true yet, but I could see this happening in the future, and this is something that I really am hoping for. DS can connect to the Wii, and theoretically there are a lot of ways they could use that. Say, in addition to having Sega Genesis and all these games, they also have Sega Game Gear games. And say you could download them temporarily to your DS to play them on the go.
Yeah, there's no reason they couldn't turn the Wii into like a DS download machine. So you could just turn on your Wii, choose a Virtual Console game, turn on your DS and click Download Play, and then the Virtual Console game would go to your DS. There's no reason that isn't technologically feasible.
I am certain that is going to happen. I am absolutely certain that at some point, maybe not right now, maybe not for a year, but Nintendo is definitely looking into that. That is my opinion.
I'm not certain, just because over in the history there have always been many things which are as equally important and intelligent to do that haven't been done, that there's going to be something just like that that's not going to happen. Yeah. Not everything that could happen is going to happen, because it's never been true. Ever.
Well, that's why I'm putting up 1,000 space dollars instead of 1,000 real dollars. Because I like space dollars.
All right.
Yeah.
So anyway, what's wrong with the Virtual Console?
All right. Well, see, I only have one complaint at all about the Virtual Console. And while it is a complaint for me and for people like me and people like Scott, it really isn't a complaint for many other people who may not have the technological know-how here. But I'm not saying that, they have to compete with the free ROMs, because that's really kind of a different world there.
Well,
and
see,
I wouldn't complain if the games cost more than free, because they have to cost more than free. The problem is they cost so much more than free that I couldn't imagine paying that much money for one of these games.
Well, you see, here's the thing, is I'm willing to pay money for video games and music and all this other stuff that you can get for free because I'm not actually buying the game, at least the way I see it, is if I buy music from, say, iTunes, right, which I'm not willing to do because there's DRM and shit, but let's say iTunes sold plain old MP3s at 10 cents each. I would totally be willing to pay for that because it's easy. And the easiness of doing it and making sure I'm getting the right song and, the selection of songs always being available, downloading quickly, always working, not having problems, et cetera, is worth 10 cents. I'm not paying for the music because I get that for free. I'm paying for getting the music conveniently as opposed to having do a pain in the ass, going on BitTorrent, getting songs I don't want, waiting too long, et cetera.
Now, that's why I think Nintendo really knows what it's doing with the Virtual Console. One, instead of using money, you use points that are equivalent of what, 1 cent per point?
It's 1 cent per point. It's also 1 yen per point.
So if you buy a bunch of these points and you're in the Virtual Console, it'll list the games that are currently available to buy. And if you buy one, it costs, 400, 500, 600, 800 points. So it doesn't feel like real money.
Yeah. They also do that because, for example, I had 2,000 points because I bought the 2,000 point card when I got the Wii, and I've spent 1,900 points. Now I've got 100 points, which can't buy shit. So I either lose $1 forever, or I'm eventually going to buy another game and give them more money.
Except that doesn't work forever because you can buy a specific number of points with your credit card.
Yeah, if I wanted to, I could buy the exact number of points, buy one more game, and then have 0 and never buy another game again. But, that's the reason they use points like that.
So one, though, Nintendo gets your money up front, meaning they're making profits ahead of having a deliverable.
Mm-hmm.
Two, the deliverables cost them practically nothing.
Well, I'm sure they're paying money to run the servers that have these games on them, but compared to the money they make from all the games coming out, they're basically raking in.
Well, think about it. Even if 1 million people buy a, 24 kilobyte game, 1 million times 24 kilobytes, not so much bandwidth.
No.
Not so much at all.
You do need a big computer to handle all those requests, but
Yeah, they're probably not going to all come at once.
No. Well, it seems like, they've been releasing the Virtual Console games Monday nights. Well, Monday morning, actually.
Well, see, that's the other thing. The reason Nintendo is smart about this, not saying it's good for me, but they're releasing the games in tiny waves where it seems like people who want to use their virtual points that they've got and just itching to spend them will buy the best of each available wave, either because they wanted to buy something or because they look through and the games they see. I mean, if every game were available, all the old crap games that no one ever cared about would never get bought because no one would think to look for them except old codgers like us. Now, they'll see ice hockey and go, ice hockey? Huh, because only 3 games came out that week. And they're more likely to buy it just waiting for other games.
Yep. But anyway, yeah, the Virtual Console games are way too high priced. If you realize that 100 points is $1, you can see that they're selling Sonic the Hedgehog 1 for like $8, something like that. It's pretty stupid.
SimCity is $8.
Yeah. SimCity for the SNES, $8.
Now, I will say right now, I doubt it does, but if it somehow integrated the Wiimote into that so I could use it like a mouse, I'd pay $8 for that in a second.
But I'm sure it does.
I'm 99.9 repeating % certain.
What bothers me the most about that isn't that, okay, they're charging $8 for Sonic the Hedgehog or whatever they're charging for it. It's that you can buy Sonic Mega Collection for the GameCube, which is exactly the same goddamn thing, only it also comes with Sonic 2, Sonic 3, Sonic & Knuckles, Sonic 3D Blast, and Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine.
But
it's like $10 at the game store.
You can't just play that on a whim. You have to put the GameCube disc in and play it.
Gasp.
Yeah, convenience.
Oh my God, you're paying for that the meagerest convenience. Let's see. If you were to buy all those games that are on Sonic Mega Collection, which is $10 GameCube game, if you were to buy all the Sonic games that are in that separately on the Virtual Console, 2 of which are now available. You can get Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, and you can get Sonic 1. Let's see, that would cost you at least $30-$50. Insane amount of money. Or you can spend $10 and get Sonic Mega Collection.
See, now there's also where Nintendo's going to make a bunch of money because a lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah.
In fact, a lot of people probably don't even realize that you can just emulate ROMs or get them on the internet for free.
Yeah.
Or even if they
They're
did know,
definitely going to make a lot of money off the people who don't know better. That they don't even realize that those games can be had for free. They don't even emulator. What's that? Those people are going to spend a lot of money on Virtual Console. It looks like a good deal to them.
So what I think is going to happen is Nintendo is going to just have these games up, and they'll keep doing their thing until they stop making crazy amounts of money. So they'll sell every game, $5, $8, $12, and then later they'll take all the games in different genres or different types or different waves or whatever, bundle them up in little packages, and sell the whole package for like 1,000 points, like super discounted.
They should, but who knows if they will. That might be a long time off.
Oh, yeah, it probably will be. But if they're smart, they'll have this trailing edge where the price just keeps dropping. Like, the price will sit at a point until everyone within reason who's going to buy it at that price point buys it. As soon as sales dry up, it'll drop to the next price point.
Yeah.
So everyone pays exactly what they're willing to pay for that game.
Yeah, I mean, even if you really think about it, they make 100% profit, effectively, on any of these games that they sell.
Unless
So
it's a game they have to re-get a license to or something. Like
that is
GoldenEye.
true. Yeah. It's going to be hard for the... Notice how there aren't any Capcom games. I haven't seen any Mega Mans or Street Fighters or anything, Plus, I already bought the Mega Man and Mega Man X collection, so they're not going to get those off of me.
Yeah.
No way.
Granted, though, despite these high prices and despite all our complaining, Scott has bought several Virtual Console games.
I bought 3 because they're the only 3 that are worth it.
So I guess we're going to talk about those 3
All right.
as kind of a dual episode here.
No, the first one that I bought was Super Star Soldier, which is a TurboGrafx 16 shmup game.
We bought it primarily because it was a TurboGrafx game.
Yeah, there was no way that I was ever going to be able to play that game if I didn't buy it on the Virtual Console.
It's an okay shmup, and that's
Yeah.
coming from a guy who hates shmups.
Yeah, and it's got... the thing about this shmup that makes it really unique is the music, which is really awesome. Like, it's definitely on Gradius 3 level of music here.
That was one thing about the TurboGrafx. A lot of the games had really good music.
Really good. And the other thing about it is it has the normal shmup mode, where you fly around and you try to beat all the bosses and get to the last level. And it starts off easy, and then it gets really hard. So even if you're not a shmup master, it deceives you and it pulls you in, and then it says, aha, I'm not actually a simple shmup.
Yeah, I mean, I beat the first level without dying. For me, that's crazy. I mean, I die in the first level of Gradius 3.
And then in level 2?
Level 2, I made it about halfway through, and then things started getting tough. And then I got to that boss, and he immediately killed me until all my lives were gone.
Yeah. The other thing that's interesting, it has another mode. The other mode are the timed modes. There's like the 3-minute mode and the 5-minute mode. And all it does is it says, okay, play in this special level, the cargo level, for 3 minutes or 5 minutes, depending on which mode you pick, and see how high a score you can get. And it's actually really fun because the cargo level is very different from the normal levels in the types of bad guys you see there and all the different things that you can shoot.
There's a lot of stuff to blow up.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to blow up, and you can't really choose all the weapons, and you only have 5 minutes, and you got to try to beat it without, just go as far as you can. And I've only ever gotten so far in it, so I really wonder, hey, how far does it go? Could I get like twice as far as I got now? Because I end up dying at like a certain point. So it's really intriguing, that mode, to see what's the farthest you can possibly get in 5 minutes.
It's a pretty good game, though. If you like shmups at all, you'll probably want to pick it up. It's not that much money.
Yeah. The next game I got is Gunstar Heroes, which is a game by Treasure. Now, if you don't know, Treasure is a game developer. I don't know if they still exist, but they made a lot of awesome games, mostly Sega Genesis games, that are really, really awesome, like Dynamite Heady and Gunstar Heroes, and I can't name any others, but they're all awesome.
Well, Dynamite Heady is pretty cool, and Gunstar Heroes, well, I haven't actually played it yet, looked pretty cool.
Yeah, the way Gunstar Heroes works, it's sort of like Turrican or Contra or Strider. You're a guy who walks around shooting stuff.
Yep. Metal Slug.
Metal Slug is a good example.
Just run to the right, shooting a whole bunch of projectiles at a whole bunch of bad guys.
Now, the interesting thing about Gunstar Heroes is that you have a whole lot of moves that you can do. You can jump, you can slide, you can, kick guys. You can grab bad guys and throw them at other bad guys. You can, all kinds of crazy shit. But the way the weapons work is the most interesting. There are 4 weapons. The homing weapon.
5 is right out.
Exactly. There are 4. That's the rapid fire weapon, the fire, the laser, and the homing. And you can get any 2 of these. You pick which one you want to start with. And you get that always. But you can choose other ones. You find them in the level. You can also give up weapons to switch them out for other ones. Now, let's say I get 2 homing weapons, right? I can choose to either use the homing weapon, the other homing weapon, or the double homing weapon, which is...
I'm awkward.
Yeah. What does that have to do with double homing?
Double hawk.
Good one.
See, I didn't play this game, so all I can do is provide inane commentary and color.
Yeah. Now, here's the trick. You ready? Let's say I get the rapid-fire weapon and the laser, right? Well, now I can fire the rapid-fire weapon, the laser, or the rapid laser.
Ooh.
And that's why Gunstar Heroes is awesome, because there's all these different combinations of weapons that are useful in different situations. I highly recommend getting the homing laser or the rapid fire. Those are quite interesting.
Now, of course, last and least, well, by least I mean most awesome or least non-awesome,
Yes.
would be ice
Ice
hockey,
hockey.
which we bought 100% because it is worth a significant amount of money to have that game in the holster, ready to go anytime, 24/7.
Also, because I wanted to vote for it, like, say, yes, we care about ice hockey.
See, it's kind of like how Anime World Order always says, buy the old crappy robot anime that you like, even if the DVD release isn't that good or whatever, or the show was actually kind of bad, just to tell the world that, yes, there is a market. Bring us more.
Mm-hmm. And also because I want to play it using controllers that aren't shit.
Yeah,
That's
see,
a big problem with emulating, is that you have a PC or something plugged into your TV, and you got to use some shitty USB gamepad. Now,
they
you
all suck.
You could get an Xbox 360 gamepad, theoretically, to work, but not easy. Not the most trivial of things.
Also
in the
really
world.
expensive for what you get.
Yeah, it's a $40 for an Xbox 360 wired controller. Screw that shit.
Yeah,
You
and
get a third-party Xbox 360 controller, but that's even worse. That's like, good God.
And then, there's all the various Gravis-type gamepad things, and for various reasons, they all just suck. We could go into great detail as to why they all suck, but I've never, ever seen one that could sufficiently emulate an actual Nintendo or Super Nintendo controller enough for me to not be continually pissed off.
Yeah, usually the buttons are okay, or at least sufficient, but the arrow part is not good at all.
Yeah, it's always either some disc or some inaccurate piece of shit, or maybe it's like a busted kind of joystick deal, or you always end up hitting diagonals when you didn't want to because they made it wrong.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people use that Logitech thing with the dual analogs, or they use the Microsoft Sidewinder on the PC, but I hate those things. They totally, kill my hands. I can't use that shit.
Now, the only option, really, until recently, was to really go to Licksang. Good old
Yep.
Licksang.
And get the Licksang that's dead now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And buy the USB to NES, SNES, Sega Genesis adapters.
Mhm. They actually are selling now NES, SNES to GameCube adapters that you can use on the Wii. So if you want to use your NES controller to play a virtual console game, you can do that.
I am so about that.
You go buy them then.
I probably will.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the number one advantage of the virtual console, is that you can play these games with controllers that don't suck, with real D-pads and real buttons that don't fuck up all the time.
Yeah. Plus just the fact
And you
that
don't have to configure them or anything. Like in the emulator, you always have to set the buttons.
Yeah.
The buttons are set, you're good to go.
anytime we wanted to play emulated games, even when we had the old div with Linux and the good emulators on it, every time we wanted to play, we still had to sit down, fiddle, play.
Mm-hmm.
And then we could play for an hour, but we had to do that initial fiddle every time we wanted to play.
Yep. And it's like the virtual console, the games are overpriced, so you really had to be selective in saying, okay, this game is worth this slightly high price because it's convenient and there's no other way I'm going to get this game, and it's a really good game. But any other game, like Zelda 1, I really like Zelda 1. I have Zelda 1 on that GameCube disc. I have Zelda 1 in some other places. So it's not worth $5. But even if I didn't have Zelda 1 in those places, still wouldn't pay $5.
No. See, the thing is, a lot of games like that, when I can buy the old Game Boy Color or GBA version of that game
Yeah, you can get the
for
GBA.
like $10, I'm not going to pay $5 to get it just on my Wii.
Yep, you can get the GBA version of Zelda 1.
Now, the
They
reason
originally released that at $20, which is insane, and it went down to 15, down to 10. Now I think you can get it for 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, it just comes down to the fact that, again, the DS is, for many people, a primary console. So if you have a game for the DS, or you can get it for the DS, there's no reason in the goddamn world to get it for the Wii because you can just play the DS in your living room just as easily as you can play the Wii.
Yeah, and here's an example I screwed up is I got Trauma Center for the Wii because it was so good on the DS, but I didn't realize that the Wii version was the DS version with some more stuff in it, like a third more stuff. So now I got to get rid of the DS version because I don't need it anymore.
See, that's great for me because I never played the DS version.
You want
So
it?
I'm just going to, I'm just going to play the Wii version because it's better.
Yeah, it is better. It's actually easier to play and has more stuff in it.
It's not often I'll complain about a game being too hard, but goddamn.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
But anyway, ice hockey.
Ice hockey is perhaps one of the most ultimate and perfect tests of manhood that two men can use to determine the length of their manhood.
Mm-hmm. You got to understand, this is a game where you have 5 players, one of which is a goalie. The other 4 players you can configure. You can either make them skinny, medium, or fatty.
Now, before we continue, the issue as to the optimal loadout for your team has been perhaps one of the most hotly debated topics in the history of the NES.
Yeah.
I mean, arguments would come to fisticuffs over this.
Now, it seems that, in the logical argument, it seems to come down to you need one skinny guy because the skinny guy wins face-offs. So you have to have a skinny guy. And I have always stood...
See, I always use fat guys for my face-offs, but that's just me.
Oh, well, skinny guys do better face-offs. That's in the game.
Oh, no. All I'm saying is that it's not always to your advantage to win the face-off.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway.
The medium guys are medium at everything, so whatever. The fat guys are really good at shooting, and they're really hard to knock down, but they're slow as shit. Like, it'll take you forever to get down the ice with those guys.
Yeah, because remember, the skinny guys are real quick. And
Yeah.
the thing is, the fat guys don't shoot harder by default. They just can charge up longer and shoot a harder shot.
Well,
if you...
no, in the same amount of charge-up time, a fat guy will shoot a harder shot than a skinny guy.
But in general, harder shot doesn't mean a lot.
It does. It depends, on the speed of the game. If you're playing on low speed, hard shot can mean a lot. But
No one plays on low speed. Low speed is for losers.
yeah. The other thing is that while high speed might seem like an advantage for the skinny guys, it can often turn into a disadvantage, making them harder to control in the high-speed games.
See, now, the loadout I have used since I was a little child, and I use to this day with great success, is 3 fat guys and 1 skinny guy. Because, 1, if you ever pick the normal guy, that just means that you're waffling. You can't decide. You want both sides. You can't commit to one thing. And you don't need more than 1 skinny guy, because that skinny guy will always be there the moment you need to get away with the puck. He's always there. He's always ready. The 3 fat guys form this impenetrable wall of defense that no guy will ever get through to score on you.
See, that's an okay strategy. When I was a kid, I used to play, 2 fatties, 1 medium, 1 skinny. But then, when we started playing in the college days, I got bold, and I thought, I know, I'll win with my skills, and I won't need the fatty guys. And I'll use 2 skinny guys and 2 medium guys, and that will allow me to not always just get trampled by fatties, because I got 2 medium guys. And I'll have such skill with my skinny guys that I'll put it in the goal and sneak around all your dudes.
Yeah, except the problem was that the medium guys didn't really do much for you.
They
just kind of stood there.
They worked. I won many games of ice hockey with that strategy. But now I'm leaning back towards bringing in some fatties.
Ha-ha.
I don't know. We'll have to see. I might bring in 1 fatty and then 2 mediums and a skinny, or a fatty, a medium, and 2 skinnies.
I'm telling you, 3 fatties, 1 skinny is the absolute perfect team.
I don't know about that.
Just like how in Final Fantasy 1, the perfect team, if you really want to beat the game super, super powerfully, is fighter, red mage, white mage. And I'll stand by that till the day I die.
2 fighters. What's wrong with you?
2 fighters is nuts. You have no idea how nuts 2 fighters is.
And then you gotta have a black mage. How is he supposed to cast all fur and lit and
You know what? Red mage can cast all the spells you need when you're low level. And when you get to high level, those spells are almost useless compared to the attacks of your dudes.
Of course they're useless. A red mage is casting them. If you had a black mage, you can cast nuke.
No, because the other party I used to great effect was fighter, white mage, black mage, or fighter, red mage, white mage, black mage.
Fighter, black belt, black mage, white mage.
See, the black belt's okay. I have many reasons I don't take him, but I will point out that if you take the thief, you're retarded.
You are retarded if you take the thief.
Oh,
I must agree.
You get to use the katana, but screw that. The katana's almost nothing, and you can find 2 of them in the game, so it's not like it's something special.
Yeah. The black belt is definitely the awesome. Because while he starts out early in the game, he's kind of weak. You can still pull him through. And then as soon as he starts leveling up, goddamn is he powerful.
Except one, not so much defense. And two, you can do almost as much damage with a fighter with the right weapon.
Almost as much. Almost as much. That's the key.
Close enough to where it doesn't matter.
But then it's not the best. If another one is slightly better, it's not the best.
Because the fighter has so many other benefits.
Anyway.
One, the fighter, when he becomes a knight.
So in ice hockey, you have these guys.
All right, so as goalie, I usually use the black mage.
Oh, really? Are they going to release like Mario 4-on-4 hockey?
Oh, that would be tight. That would be so
Final
tight.
Fantasy characters like the
Like
hoops.
the 3-on-3 basketball?
Yeah.
I want that so much. I would pay upwards at $6 for that.
$6. So
see, the other guy on your team you don't get to pick is your goalie. And in the fashion of old school sports games, moving the stick moves all of your guys. It moves your main guy precisely. It moves your other three guys in a very generalized sense. Like if you're holding up, they'll kind of go up. And it'll move your goalie straight up in 2 dimensions.
Mm-hmm. Well, your goalie can go forward and back a little bit, but mostly he goes up
That's
and down.
why I said 2 dimensions.
Yeah.
He can go up and down, and he can go left and right.
I thought you said 2 directions.
I said 2 dimensions.
Oh, okay. Yeah. The goalie is kind of tricky because, if someone's standing there with their stick raised up like they're going to give a slap shot, they could shoot that up, they could shoot it down. You don't know where it's going to go.
They could also DQ, pass, and then shoot.
Yeah. So it's really, if you don't have defensemen just standing all over the place, which you can do by holding down one of the buttons.
Nope. That's not how you do it.
It says in the instructions
to hit the button 5 times in a row.
No, it doesn't. In the Wii manual that I read, because the manual that's another thing that's nice about virtual console games, is the manuals for the games are built in. I just read it, and it says to hold down this button. Maybe.
Well, according to multiple game faxes and multiple websites, as I said, the correct way to defend yourself on the original NES game, at least, is to press B repeatedly when you're on defense to gather players in front of the net.
Yep. The operations manual for ice hockey on the Wii says if you press and hold 1, which is B, then players will gather in front of the net. However, I tried to do that yesterday, and I couldn't really tell if it was working right. So we're gonna have to do some more experimenting to figure out if the operations manual is wrong or if they changed the controls.
Yep, but case in point, I mean, we won't really go into more detail because there's not so much to this game.
It's very
other
simple.
than raw, unbridled skill and passion,
and hurting your hands a lot,
and fighting via Nintendo Finger.
Yeah, there's a lot of Nintendo Finger. It's like Nintendo Finger to get the face off, Nintendo Finger to win a fight, Nintendo Finger to do all kinds of shit.
If you've got a Wii and you've never played ice hockey, spend the $5.
If there's one virtual console game you're gonna buy, if you're only ever gonna buy one, buy this one. Just because it's so awesome.
This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music.
Be sure to visit our website at www.frontrowcrew.com, where you'll find show notes, links, our awesome forum, a link to our Frapper map, and links to all the RSS feeds.
We say feeds plural because Geeknights airs 4 nights a week, covering 4 different brands of geekery. Mondays are science and technology. Tuesdays, we have video games, board games, and RPGs. Wednesdays are anime, manga, comic nights. And Thursdays are the catch-alls for various rants and tomfoolery.
You can send us feedback by email to geeknights@frontrowcrew.com. Or you can send audio feedback via Odeo. Just click the link that says Send Me an Audio on the right side of our website.
If you like what you hear, you can catch the last 100 episodes in iTunes or in your favorite podcatcher. For the complete archives, visit the website, which has everything.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 2.5 license. This means you can do whatever you want with it as long as you give us credit, don't make money, and share it in kind. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.